We the GamerCast is powered by patrons at patreon.com/YumiCapri. And from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful to the nearly 70 patrons who support us each and every month, with a special thanks to our Capremium producers, Dallas Ford, Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team, and Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive and the Nintendo Drive. You can support Jonathan Brown at youtube.com/PM Entertainment. Our platinum producers, Robbie Bobby Miller and Trucker Sloth, and our gold members, Argo, Benji Kong, Brendan Myers, Dallas Robbins, Dano, Emily O'Kelly, Foolish Fuji, Heather Boney, James Johnson, Joel Brooks, Jose Jimenez, Mac Time, Marcus O'Neill, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, RJ Kern, Skinny Matt, and Xavier Reyes. If you'd like to support this show and all the Yumi Capri content, go to patreon.com/Yumi Capri and choose the tier that's right for you. Now, on with the show. Sean Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast. It publishes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play every single Monday. Patrons get it first, but thank you for subscribing. Thank you for rating the show on Apple Podcasts and all the things you do, for telling your mom, for telling your friends, for telling your dad, for telling your dog, for telling your son or your daughter or whoever it is. Thank you guys for sharing the show. We're keeping it going, guys. It's happening. An amazing guest and an amazing chit chat with Kal0 today. But guys, I'm a little ahead of myself because if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. We talk about life in video games. And if you want to be on the show, things are starting to open up a little bit, you guys. You should do it. Tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. That's also where you can send just like nice messages or funny gifs or memes, whatever you guys like. It's we'll try to make Twitter a better place together, if that's okay with you guys. I don't have a whole heck of a lot to tell you guys today. We're gonna get, I think, into it pretty quickly, other than to say I'm now a little older. I'm a little wiser. I had my birthday last week, and I want to say thank you to everybody for making that a very special day. Of course, my wife and my family, and actually just the other day, as you're hearing this, my mother-in-law really spoiled me with a beautiful dinner. We had steak and ribs, and she got me a gaming keyboard. So I'm kind of flying high right now, man. Very, very appreciative for a lot of wonderful people in my life. And my birthday was, I just got flooded with a lot of love and, people just saying, just taking a moment out of their day to make my day feel very, very special. And it's always a reminder to me to do that for other people. Like it's a weird thing. Birthdays are kind of weird, right? Like, especially as we're getting older, it's not like you have like a big party or anything and have a whole bunch of people over. At least I don't know. Maybe I'd love to hear if anybody out there is still having like birthday parties, in your 30s. And I know there's a bunch of people. What was that? My phone? Was that a phone? I don't know what's going on. That's terribly unprofessional if that was, or maybe I'm just hearing things as I get a little bit older. So anyways, very spoiled. My wife got me an Xbox and Nintendo Drive cake, which is unreal. It's probably the best cake I've ever seen. Like it was like perfect. It wasn't like some like made up drawing of it. Like she took the file, like she didn't even have like the layered like Photoshop file of it. Like that took a lot of work. So feeling very, very lucky. The break from streaming over on Twitch continues. I've got another week or so until I kind of figure out exactly what's next. You can hear a little bit more about that over at patreon.com/Yumi Capri. If you're at the exclusive level, my good friend Ryan Turford and I, on the first of every month, by the way, that's when that show will come up. On the first of every month, Ryan Turford and I will release an exclusive podcast called the Yumi Capri Podcast. And on that, we discuss kind of what's going on over there. So you guys can check that out. I'm down 13 pounds since taking a break and just kind of focusing on eating. Chelsea and I, both my wife, we're both doing great, which is really exciting. And I'm kind of scared to like not have that keep going. Like it's been really good. So I just want to keep my mind open to that, and I got to keep going. I have some suits at work that are fitting me, and some suits still that are a little. I wore one yesterday. My gray suit still a little tight, so got a little bit more work to do, which is great. Feeling awesome about all of that. Okay, I I want to tell you guys, I'm really excited about Halo because it's taken over my timeline and I'm here for that. But that's it. We're going to get into my chat with you. His name is Edwin, but you probably know him best as Kal0, Kal0 on Twitter. This is a long time coming. Kal and I have known each other in this podcasting community for a very, very long time. And probably shout out to Jason Lacey and Skinny Matt and maybe a few others for finally making the push over in the Fluxopposed Discord, which was awesome. This is happening. Kal0 is here. We're going to talk about some stuff. So let's just get right into it. Here he is, Kal0. It's funny you say that you even like listed on your own as like one of your passions. I'm like, man, I've been looking forward to chatting with you for a long time because like you have endless passions. You're like, you have so many passions. I'm like, we could do a series with you on this, man.
Yeah, definitely cooking. I should say, I used to watch the Olympics like every time it happens, and I will tell you, I've been missing it. I don't know if it's because of the time, or what, but I'm not in the loop at all. So I need to fix that this week, But
what's going on?
But yeah, man, grilling. I started golfing like 6 months ago.
Like for the first time.
I started the whole golfing thing, the real deal, trying to be Donnie, right? I think he's a golfer. So.
Donnie golfs, yeah, man.
So he's a man on that. So I've been trying that. But again, I suck at it. It's okay. Part of the fun.
Who were you going golfing with?
With 3-4 guys. We just go have a couple of cigars, some beers, and just go. That might be the issue. The priorities are not right? It's like cigars, beers, and then golf, So
well, that's the order I think that it's supposed to go in. Really,
exactly.
Like if you're not that's like the golf is sort of like the reason to do all the other things.
Yeah,
you're
and actually
sort of there.
And for the first time a month ago, I tried with my guys at work disc golf, and let me tell you, at first I was like, man, this is not going to work out, but it was really fun. I should say, really fun.
Is it basically like Frisbee? Like, did I play that on Golf Story? I feel like that was a thing.
I think, yeah. The whole weed guys and all that, but no, this is
that's right.
These guys are the real deal. But yeah, that's fun too. But I don't have that much time to dedicate for all this stuff. So
I was gonna say, like, that was actually gonna be my next thing. Is like, how are you able to just like you dabble in all the things, man?
Definitely. Like I always tell the guys, I don't consider myself I'm always so impressed by all you guys like you and Donnie and Flux guys, that they know all the history and all these games and they get so deep on all this stuff, That's very impressive. One of the reasons, of course, that I follow you guys and all that, but for me is, I try a game. If it's not for me, I just move on and I keep going, it's not.
But I often wonder what it would be like to just sort of like, not that I have any contemplations about like stopping any of this stuff, but yeah, like to just go like, it's been so long since I started doing any of this stuff. It's like, what is it like to enjoy just games, like to know, like, or to look into it.
Definitely I do, I'm in Texas, so I do hunting and of course, whatever we hunt, we go and cook it, grill it, do sausages and all that. And so that's a big part of it. And of course, scotch, cigars, golf.
Of course.
So a lot of that right now.
What do you hunt?
Hawks, it's a big...
Hawks?
It's a big epidemic. Like these wild pigs,
Oh, hogs. I thought you were like, I thought you were taken to the skies.
Man. I told Skinny Man, my Spanglish will come out.
I love it. No, I love it. I was kind of hoping, you know what though? Actually, you probably said it very clearly, but I was kind of hoping you would say hawks. Like you're going to hunt like eagles and shit.
Wild pigs are a big issue. Big issue here in Texas, and farm owners, they go and they recruit guys, right? And they're like, hey, this weekend I need guys to come here and because these guys are destroying the crops.
See, this is like Monster Hunter. Like you're living like Monster Hunter.
It's actually pretty intense. These guys are dangerous. So, it's like, you know, a little Farmville thing, you know, just.
Yeah. Have you ever had like an incident or anything? Like, does it always go pretty much according to plan? But yeah, those things are pretty.
For the most part, one of my, for me, I usually I'm pretty safe at it and all that. But yeah, I do know people that they've been hit and injured pretty bad by wild hogs.
Okay, like, because I've never been approached by a wild hog or anything like that, but it always seems to me like you should have enough time to just like step out of the way.
No, dude.
You know what I mean?
Guys are fast.
Are they?
I mean,
I
dude,
guess so.
Oh my god, dude, this is not like Zelda, right? That the guy give you a try, you know, hit me first, right? Hit me first.
Yeah.
No, if you're not ready, and these guys go running at you, then they have this big, you know, I don't know how to say it in English.
Are they like tusks?
Tusks,
yeah.
And that's how he got hit. He got hit and actually punctured his liver or something.
Oh, get out of here!
Bad. He was pretty bad, but he got out. You know, we.
And do they just hit you and just keep going on? Like, do they just kind of go about their business?
The
hogs, like, do they just kind of? It's like a hit and run, or like they're going to try to eat you? Is kind of what I'm getting at. I don't know.
Hit and run. Yeah, they just get scared, hit and run, and usually they usually are in packs. So you know.
Oh my god!
They get scared. They start running, and you need to be careful. You know.
Yeah, that's where you pull out your semi-automatics and just take out the whole lot of them.
Yeah. You take your rifle and you try to to take care of business. But again, it's part of the. It's definitely a thrill. It's definitely a thrill.
Is it?
You need to be careful. You need to be careful. You know, it's not a. You need to go with people that know what they're doing and all that. It's not a. It can be dangerous. So.
Yeah. What kind of distances are you talking about? Like what? Like, are you like close combat? Or you? Because like the thing is that I picture when most people talk about hunting, I'm thinking like deer or elk or moose or I don't know, something larger. You know.
Let me tell you, in Canada, you guys have some amazing opportunities there.
Did you see? I don't know. I don't think anybody's allowed to hunt this, but Marcus O'Neill posted something in our Discord a little while ago. He was going on a bike ride, and there was like a buffalo just on the side of the road, just like this gigantic, majestic beast.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're allowed to hunt them. I'm pretty sure that that's against the law. But
yeah,
like I think about like larger animals is sort of more traditional. But yeah, like
for this it's like 50 yards, I will say.
50 yards, yeah.
Yards. So pretty close.
That is, I mean, they can close that gap pretty quick. I wonder what their 40 is.
Yeah, and I should say we are not going on foot. We usually are in a jeep or
are you
with big flashlights, mount on that jeep and all that, or big lights, I should say.
Yeah,
and so that's why we are on the safe side. Then you start thinking you're Rambo, and the guy jump in and he tried to walk on. You're like, dude, don't go in the ground because you're going to get hit. So that's the summary of the whole,
Well, how did you get into it? Like, where did you go for the first time? Like, was it with your parents or something, or a friend brought you around, or what?
So one thing is that I grew up in Puerto Rico. That's, in the Caribbean. Okay?
I think you should say that a couple more times. That's beautiful.
And Puerto Rico.
Yeah, thank you.
And in the Caribbean, okay, and fishing, and my grandpa, he used to have a farm, and we used to process the food, right? If you wanted a chicken soup, you go and you grab a chicken, you process it, right?
Yeah.
And you get your fresh chicken soup, right? And he used to have pigs, and he used to have cows, and we'll go and take and process a cow for 2-3 families, right?
Yeah, no
and
kidding.
It's part of that culture, right? That I always been interested. And then, of course, because of that, in Texas, it kind of translates to the whole hunting, hunting world, right? They
sure.
have the whole thing, and obviously, it's more formalized here in the U.S. in terms of license and all that.
Yeah.
When you can, and seasons and all that. So yeah, I think it comes from that background. I used to help my grandfather in the farm on processing all this and skinning and working all these animals to basically provide food, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that when I went to Puerto Rico 7 years ago, or 5 years ago, 5 years ago, with my kids for the first time, and we went fishing, and we got this huge red snapper, and,
nice,
and some lobsters and stuff like that we were diving for it and all that. They freaked out, right?
I'll bet.
Like, they were not, not used to go to the grocery store, right?
Of course, yeah, everything's done.
So it was definitely an eye-opening thing for them, and and I try to not to provide them a shock on that, but it definitely was an eye-opener for them, and now they understand the whole cycle of life and all that, if I can say it like that.
Yeah, it is something that, like, even like as adults, I feel like we don't really, like, if you're like, I don't know, like most of us, like me, like, I actually saw, oddly enough, I saw a PETA video that kind of like really kind of showed exactly what, like, how a meal kind of gets onto your table, and it's like, I guess I just never really thought of it. I had a friend,
and in my case, of course, everybody grow up differently, right?
Yeah.
But in my case, it show you a little bit of that respect you need to have, right? To stuff that you process or kill for food and stuff like that. You need to be. It's not just it's same thing happened with the hogs that we kill, right? Those get processed, and then we take those and we take that meat to the community, right? The homeless houses and all that to provide food and all that. So all this stuff doesn't go to waste. It's not just it's not
not just for fun. Yeah,
stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's that. I will say that's the background regarding that farming experience in the island and fishing and all that hopefully I can, how you say, teach my kids as well on that. They're 9 and 11, and they're into it, but that tradition should continue at least.
Do you think, like, so they're 9, they're not like brand new kids, they're kind of getting up. They're definitely older than you were when you were kind of exposed to that sort of thing?
Definitely older.
Is it too late?
No, it's not. I think one good thing is that there's so much information out there that they can, and I'm very open in terms of technology with them, on that they can, if they want to YouTube something and look for it, and the good thing is that they bring up all those questions about.
Oh, really?
And again, at the end of the day, like I tell them, we don't process, we don't kill food animals just for fun, right? We need to have a respect on what we do, and they understand that, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that's not. I'm not defending the big industries, right? I'm just talking about the.
Oh, it doesn't sound like you are. It sounds completely like it is totally different. Well, even when you're talking about growing up, and you go out back and you pick one of the chickens, like you kind of have to think about. You can't do too many of that. Like, you got to make sure that there's a sustainability to it, and that there's still more chickens after that one, and all that kind of stuff. Definitely.
And I, even that I did not grow up with a lot, very happy with my style of growing up, and that exposure definitely gave me a different perspective, I think, on some of the things. Of course, I'm not the only one, but at least in my case, it definitely helped.
Well, it's funny because, like, I just got home from work. I went to a Costco and grabbed all the groceries, brought them all in. And, it's funny because I'm chatting with you about this tonight because my kids are like, oh, and now there's bananas and now there's oranges and all these things. And I'm like, number one, my first thought was that, somebody has to work to earn the money to buy this stuff. But then also, like, just they're just happy that there's food here. And I'm looking forward to, like, having some of those. Maybe not like I'm not equipped to have the you got to raise the animals or anything like that. But even just like kind of opening the mind a little bit to the
and I'm definitely now, for example, every time I chat with my family back in Puerto Rico, I'm in classic cookie cutter neighborhood.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I was gonna ask. Like, you're not on. Yeah. So you're not sitting on a farm or anything right now.
They're always like, oh my god, So it's cool.
Yeah, you're like, it's comfy.
Oh, for sure. I love it, man. AC all the time. This is awesome. I cannot complain about this.
When did you leave? When did you move to the US?
Oh, in Texas, 2001. So I've been as soon as I left college, I got into the whole tech business, right? And I moved to Texas, to Austin. First, I should say, there was a period of my time that I was in Maryland, but then for the most part, my 20 years, I've been in Texas. Yeah. In the central Texas area. But before that, whole childhood, my whole love for Nintendo and all that was in Puerto Rico.
Was it?
And then in college, then college in Puerto Rico, and then I moved here.
What was college like there?
Interesting, because Puerto Rico is a lot of parties and a lot of well, I think the same thing happened here in the U.S., right? So,
yeah.
so at least in North America, Canada, I don't know, but
it's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah,
but it's fun, man. I had a blast. I should say that while I was in college, and one of the things that I have this massive gap in terms of gaming is because when I was in college, I stopped gaming. No gaming at all for me, and that was basically working full time and studying, and I need to make this work, right? There was no plan B for me. So
was that always the expectation? Was that you'd go off to college at some point? Was that I'm trying to think about the path, and this is foreign to me a little bit, so pardon my ignorance a little bit of you kind of going on. Is that a normal kind of upbringing to go from I'm going to go grab a chicken and make my chicken soup and then off to college? I just don't know if that I think about friends here going growing up on a farm. Some of them having a trouble going from the farm to
Definitely was a different. No, it's definitely something that I think my dad had an influence on that. Every time he had all these electronic books and about power, electricity, thermodynamics, all this stuff regarding engineering in his personal library when there was no internet, right? And I always will grab those books and be very interested on that, very reading about it. And every time I get a crappy remote control car or RC car, right, I will break it down and try to figure out how it works. Same thing with the radio. So I was that type of kid, right, that you're always breaking stuff up and breaking stuff down. And so I should say that thanks to my parents, they definitely pushed me to, hey, you know what, you should go to college and try, whatever, right? In this case, I did engineering, but it was kind of an open, check it out, check what you like and all that. So.
Electrical engineering, was that?
Electrical software engineering.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's different to me of power engineer, electricity versus software engineering.
Yeah. So I took both majors, but basically,
oh my God, Kal, holy crap.
No, but I'm just saying, dude.
That's good. That's impressive. That's very impressive. That's a lot of schooling, man.
But my 20 years of experience are really in hardware design. Hardware design for the most part, and I love it.
What kind of stuff do you work on? What is that? Can you talk about that sort of thing?
Some of the stuff I can talk. Yeah, I can talk some of the stuff.
Tell me your secrets.
Some of the stuff you will like. Obviously, at the early 2001, 2002, 2003, I was in IBM. I'm no longer with them. But when I was in IBM, I was working on the Xbox 360, right?
What?
And I was working on the PlayStation 3 as well, right?
What do you mean you were working on it? What does that mean? What were you doing?
The hardware design of the cell processor.
I had no idea about this. This is amazing.
Well, I never told you this, what? No,
I don't think so.
I never told you this, yeah. So, the Xbox 360 was the design here in Austin.
Yeah.
In IBM. And then the similar team transitioned to the cell processor that was the PlayStation 3 one.
Yeah.
And of course, we're a team of 500 or so people, right? So we are just working in different areas for verification of the hardware. So we are basically trying to break it, right? And making sure that the design is at spec and making sure that it works. So the cool thing was that we were able to see and play with the Xbox 360. And let me tell you, that experience was what brought me back to, this still happening. This gaming thing is still a thing. And that's when I was exposed to the 360, when we were in the labs and looking at it oh, shit, okay, we're playing, what game was that? I forgot. But we were playing a game of it was not Halo. I won't know that one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I was
So
more
rendering a death
involved
is your fault, is what I'm hearing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my fault. And let me tell you that I was more involved in the Xbox 360. So hey, the PlayStation 3 disaster regarding how difficult it was to software and program on it, I'm not responsible for that. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and part of my, like, I've always wondered this. You mentioned that there's 500 people kind of working on this sort of thing. Like, it's a team that's, you know, an order of magnitude larger than the organization I work with. For the entire organization, you're just like looking at like probably one piece of this. I don't know how that, like, how does that all work? Were you on, you kind of maybe touched on this? Like, was it a quality assurance type of end of things?
Yeah, or verification, quality assurance, verification areas of testing that hardware design. So even before it goes to manufacturing, right, we need to make sure that we test everything on emulation or, you know, and all that before we even get the test silicon, because that's too late. If we don't find all the before, right? Because getting silicon is millions and millions of dollars, right? That test silicon to test that thing.
How does that work? What is that? I think this is something that people often talk about, and it's amazing how, especially with like the whole shortage that is happening right now. There's all these people who talk about like, oh, there's these wafers and whatever. I have no idea. I'm not going to pretend like I have any idea. Like, where does it come from? Like, what does it take to come up with this stuff, and why is it special?
Well, you know, the first thing is that in the manufacturing floor, that I will say that's another realm that I'm not involved in. But in the manufacturing, they need to make sure that they set up all the floor and the machinery, let's say it in simple terms, to support that technology, right? That whatever that technology, that silicon is getting designed on. And by technology, I mean the nanometers, right? How small it is and all that. You need to make sure that manufacturing floor can produce that. And that takes planning, and that takes 6 months, 7, 8 months of planning to make sure that you can get a test shipped, right? So sometimes when you hear people talking about, you know, things like whatever Nintendo is doing or PlayStation doing, it's like, guys, remember, these guys are planning this hardware 2 years, right? Or 3 years. Like, you know, it takes a long time. It's not something that they take. It's not that simple, right? That sometimes, you know, and again, I don't expect everybody to be an expert on this, but but sometimes you hear people like, oh no, they should just change this. You know, they can make it happen. It's like, dude, it's not that simple.
Yeah, I think about things in my own work and just think about like, it seems like a simple thing, and just no, it is relatively to, you know, hardware. It absolutely is simple.
For example, now I cannot talk too much about it, but now I'm in the whole mobile phone world, right? And we are. I'm involved in the team dealing with the GPU, right? The graphic processor unit. We're designing that, and that, dude, that, you know,
that's awesome.
We are 2 years ahead, right? So
are you? Yeah.
So whatever is coming now, we worked on that last year. So why you want to know? You know, it's like, I did that last year. We cannot fix it right now. It's like,
is it stressful in that? Like, because it seems like the stakes are pretty high. Like things kind of have to work. You know, once you set it, you're gone.
For sure, and that's when people like in my team comes in, right? That while we are working and designing it in software,
right,
we need to make sure that that's solid and that we are having all the bugs taken care, so that when it goes to the hardware, if we find something, it was a minimal thing, we can fix it with a firmware patch, or we can submit an update from, you know, here and fix it. You know,
you guys are on another level, man.
That type of stuff.
So it's like you're running simulations. Is that kind of the thing? Like you're trying to
running simulations. We're running like for example simulation to make sure that you can reach your FPS goals, right? That you can reach all those, trying to make sure that all those benchmarks are met or exceeded,
right?
Because if you were doing 10x today, you want to make sure that the next product is, you know, 10x better or whatever. And of course, I'm just throwing these numbers.
Sure,
out there.
But also, isn't there like I was hearing something about like the silicon lottery, where like sometimes you get a CPU or something like that can perform really, really well, and then others that just aren't really. They're kind of at the bottom level. So when you're doing your simulation in software, where you're not dealing with anything real, you obviously you have to account for those thresholds. I'm imagining.
Well, for sure. Yeah, you need to account for that, and of course we have the concept of emulating. That is like, you have these massive machines that you can actually emulate on hardware,
right?
Chip, right, and then you get. You can do a little bit more advanced stuff than pure software, like booting Android or booting whatever, right? So stuff like that.
It sounds very intimidating. Like, it sounds like it would be overwhelming to like walk into the room and they go, "Okay, guys, here's the job," and it's like there's too much here. Like, how was there like a?
And that's it's definitely a lot. And,
it is.
And I will say that this is when you need to be humble and you need to be like, you know what? I know there's a bunch of people here. Let's work as a team.
Yeah.
And let's make it happen. And let me tell you, that's the only way you're successful, right? In this type of business. You can be the most smart, the smartest guy in the world. And
sure. And everybody is, like, in that room, like, everybody's smart.
If you don't work as a team, you're not going anywhere. And that's critical. Usually when I go and I talk to my to guys in high school and stuff like that. That's what I tell them, like that, guys, make sure you can work in a team and you're not just, trying to impress or whatever, the team can impress, but don't worry that the accolades and whatever else is coming your way if the team wins, right?
Yeah.
So very focused on that, on teamwork and all that, definitely, because these are huge things, right? When I'm talking software simulation, right, we have a farm of systems, right? I'm dealing with a farm of thousands and thousands of PCs, right?
Oh my God.
Stuff, right? So,
how does that sort of manifest in home? Like, because I can imagine where there's a situation I think some people can identify with where some people don't want to play PC games because I'm an example of this sometimes where I'm like, I've been sitting at a computer all day. I don't really want to come home and sit at a computer as well. But like, you're so passionate about tech, like, I can imagine that doesn't really matter. Like, you can deal with all that stuff all day long and then come home to a nice, complicated, tech-rich kind of home. Like, are you all like gadgeted out and everything in your home?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
But I should say that when it comes to gaming, I usually now looking into relaxing.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon, just drive, stuff.
Yeah, man.
That type of thing. When I go and try to, and let me tell you, I don't know, when I go and play games like The Division that I love, but dude, the tension sometimes take me out of it because it's like I just want to relax. Have a relaxed time, and lately as getting older, that's what I'm looking for more and more relaxing stuff. Like, even that it can be a little bit stressful. I used to play a lot of basketball. I love NBA 2K and try to relieve those those teams from my era, and Forza Horizon because I love cars and all that. So it's trying to hit those spots that I love,
Yeah. It seems like that just comes so naturally to you to just like want to, like, you just live in the moment. I feel like every time you take a picture of whatever it is you're doing, it's just like, there's nothing else in the world that you'd rather be doing in that moment. It's like, now it's a cigar time, or right now, whatever it is. Like, it's time for this. It was a scotch or whatever. Like, it's just, it's always time for that. And I love that, man.
Time to grill, time to, grill time. That's something that I've been trying to learn in the past, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, because like with the gaming industry, tech business is really stressful, right?
Yeah.
And dude, things like simple things, man, like meditation, I will say that I know it has a little bit of a spiritual indication and all that, but not looking at a spiritual or religious stuff, just meditation. Dude, it helps me 100%. Just
wow, yeah.
Taking 20 minutes a day or every other day and just, sit down and
good on you, man. How did you fall into that? Where did that come from?
To try to deal with stress, right? With the whole when you have project deadlines on the line, right? And stuff like that, it will get to you after 20, 25 years. And one thing is that I have a twin sister, and she's in the whole psychology. I'm in the tech business, and she's in the whole different realm,
Yeah, is that like left brain, right brain kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she told me like, hey, there's nothing wrong. And this was 7-8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with talking with some professional about stress.
Oh, yeah.
And I did that. And dude, one of the best decisions I ever made,
Yeah.
And that guy, that I still talk to him,
Do you really?
Every other week, dude. It's like, it's perfect. It's the guy that I just, can just talk, and we just talk. We're not friends because it's a professional interaction, right?
Sure.
But we're just chatting, and and he introduced me to the whole, hey, 15 minutes, 10 minutes of meditation will do miracles. And of course, like with everything, at least in my case, the first 2 weeks, you don't feel, you're like, this is not working. This is BS. It's like, hey, relax, just keep going, and you will see the benefit of it, And yeah, it has helped me a lot. And let me tell you, with this whole COVID pandemic thing, man, that I was working from home 24/7, right? And because everybody work from home, you don't need to go to the office. Then I don't have that split of going to the office and coming back to my house. I'm just 100% here. I was going crazy. It's like no interaction with people and all that. And meditation helped a lot, definitely.
When it seems like you're a natural like extrovert, like kind of just a stereotypical, like you recharge with other people. Is that fair to say?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And at work, we have a very, very healthy, I would say healthy, but healthy, dynamic back and forth with our teams, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I got this idea. Hey, stop that. We need to run it like this, or we need to do that. It's not the same on Zoom, right? It helps. Don't get me wrong. Zoom, great technology. It helps a lot, but it's not the same. It's not the same as me just walking to the other guy like, hey, we need to do this, or hey, we need to go on that, or let me share this. Let's go and brainstorm, right, in the whiteboard and stuff.
Whiteboard, thank you. Yes, I feel like I've been working with my hands tied behind my back over the last year, and it's like
So that helps. At least it helps me a lot, and not just me. It helps a lot of the young guys that are trying to show off, right? Like, hey, you're in the office, you can show off what you are, what here. It's easier. Of course, you can do it through Zoom, but it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Is sort of everybody in that industry, in that line of work, like, are they all kind of on edge right now? Have they all discovered meditation? Is that a thing that you get to talk about?
I hope I share it with my team because I'm very open about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm always like, hey, if I share it with my team all the time about it. But we have heard, horrible news about, people, falling into the whole, the whole depression and loneliness and all that. That is not good with this. One of those things that are happening post-pandemic, right? Of course, or through the pandemic, I should say. And of course, hopefully things are looking like we might get back, I don't know, beginning of 2022 or so. So we'll see.
So funny when you say 2022, that sounds like forever, away, but it's like
we're not that far. Not that
I know,
far,
it just sounds like a sci-fi movie I just watched. It sounds too far.
And let me tell you, one of the good things is that companies like the one I'm working now, they did not used to be that flexible, and now they're like, you know what, you guys been meeting the goals.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want, you can come to the office at a certain time, at this date forward. Or if not, you can stay and work from home, So they're trying to cater both, right? Because let me tell you, I need to be in an office.
Yeah.
But my 2 generations down me, they love it. They love what you're doing. They love it. They have no kids. They're like, oh, I love it here.
And I love the blend, actually. And this is, it's this shift that, it's a bit of a test for anybody to look at the company that they're working for and go like, what do you want, and what are they like willing to provide? And it's because it's never going to get any more open than this. There's like openness and flexibility, and if you're waiting past this to discover if there's going to be any sort of give,
for sure,
that time is come and gone, man.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
it.
This is the time, and I'm very happy that companies in the tech world are like, you know what? Yeah, let's be flexible. You guys, the oldies, you guys want to come to the
The
office? Feel free
oldie.
to come. Feel
Yeah.
free to come. The senior guys,
Hmm.
and if you want to stay home, you can stay home if you want. So
So
we'll.
you have been doing this for 20 years professionally. You've been out of college
Yeah,
for
yeah. I've
for
been doing
20
it for
years.
20.
Talk to me
20
about like
years.
that journey a little bit in terms of like I'm trying to think, like I guess I've been in my profession for about 12 years. So I'm not too terribly far behind you, but it's in a way almost like half. But I think about like, especially when you're young, you think about like this sprint to whatever the next level is, or
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
top, or whatever that is. There's this
So,
mentality. But
so I
like,
will tell you,
you've got longevity is kind of what I'm getting at here. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint.
yes, yes, and I will say I definitely did some mistakes in my younger days, because I will tell you the first 5 years or so,
Yeah.
I was what you were categorized a workaholic, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was working in the office trying to demonstrate that I know what I'm doing and this is how you
Right.
do it and all that. And of course, that work, it worked out for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely can burn some people pretty bad. And
Yeah.
I
I
will
think most
suggest,
people.
yeah, and I will suggest that people, break that down and don't do these massive hours like I was doing again. So I learned after some hard lessons, in terms of personal life and
Yeah.
the girlfriend at the time. I'm breaking up with that because again, I was putting all my effort at work,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to have a balance. But again, as a young guy full of caffeine and let's go, this was full Red Bull mode and let's go, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, then after 5 6 years, I've been lucky enough that in this world is even that is a big industry, it's a semi mid-sized industry, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
In Austin, where I'm from, in Central Texas, I will say, uh, there's a big boom in tech, right? So
Yeah.
there are a lot of companies. I've been lucky enough to be always networking and in contact with a lot of my friends, right? You need to know who to keep that contact in the business,
Yeah.
and it just happened that every 8 or 9 years someone contact me and say, hey, we need someone to do this type of work in this other company, we have some other projects, we're having trouble, can you come and help us? And every 8 or 9 years it happens by like that I go and switch to another company and another challenge. And for me that's been very healthy,
Yeah.
because
That's
even that
about as
is
long as you'd
scary.
want to spend. That's enough time, a decade or so.
Yeah, exactly, right? After 8 years or so. And I will tell you, every time it was scary for me. But
Sure.
dude, the best decision
Wow.
I done as a professional, engineer is doing those type of jumps, because now I get exposed to a bigger network and
Yeah.
and like you were saying, you meet really smart people, right? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now my network is expanding, and then after 7, 6, 7, 8 more years, hey, there's a new opportunity from that network that you have, and keep going like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been pretty lucky on following that. But again, definitely at the beginning, I will say the whole workaholic thing and definitely kicked my butt on that.
Are you? I don't know if this is. I don't know how to really ask this other than to say, like, I see you. I see you appreciating retired life is kind of what I'm thinking. Like, at what point do you go, okay, I'm going to be able to like kick back? Like,
Definitely.
or are you going to be working until forever because you like enjoy? I could see you doing both. Like, I could see you just like enjoying life or working forever because you like it.
So I definitely, my goal is to retire a little bit early. I'm
Yeah.
42 right now.
Yeah.
Probably, and by early, I'm not saying, probably 55,
Yeah.
52, that area there. And then one of the things that I probably will still be doing is consulting style of work, right?
Yeah.
Again, expand your network, know people, right? And then, that consulting opportunities might show up, right? And stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, because they know what you're worth, right? And things like that. So I will see myself hopefully retiring when my kids go to college or whatever they want to do, right? Because things are changing so much that
No kidding. Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, college is no longer a thing or whatever. It's like, okay, do whatever you want, right?
Is that the like that's sort of my perception of it, but I also feel like I'm in the sort of like weird in between. I'm whatever 14 years out of college at this point or something like that.
Yeah,
the kids are about the same away from college, so I'm kind of like right in the middle. Like I don't know if that's
for example, my son, he's really into animation and drawing and stuff like
so
that.
Cool. Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, man, go for it, and we'll start searching what are the best schools and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know what that means in terms of opportunities for him. He's 11 and all that, and we put him on all these camps and all that. But like I tell him, hey, the good thing you have right now that I wish when I was a kid I had is, you have an iPad, you have Procreate, you have all this information, you have this online, of course he's 11, so I'm not pushing it, but
of course,
all these online courses and opportunities, man, is crazy, insane.
And college, course, when you think about it that way, I feel like college is actually more of a tough sell than anything. You can get all the information you can ever really want, just not in a catered,
for example,
curriculum kind of thing.
At one time I took 3 months off or something because we got a sabbatical opportunity. And they pay you that and all that. And I wanted to
take it every time. It sounds amazing. You take that every time.
It was amazing. So you go I went to Puerto Rico and, all the back. And I wanted to learn how to program iOS apps, right?
Yeah.
And it was as easy as going to iTunes at that time, iTunes University. And they have full college Stanford stuff on how to do that. Of course, you need to have a little bit of background in software, and not a little bit, you need to know about software and all that.
Sure, yeah.
But impressive stuff that this young generation, I'm talking like I'm an old man, but these younger guys
it's different. Like, and maybe the words make it sound like, we're getting up there, but it so much changes every 5 years. It's, when people talk about like, when did the iPhone come out even? You'd be shocked to remember, like, that's not that long ago. Like, it really, really isn't. It seems like it's just been like embedded in our day to day.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this weekend I was in this birthday party, some random kid birthday party, and we were talking about that. I was like, dude, I remember when the phone was just an analog phone, right? Analog phone, and then we jump in on this, and now all of a sudden we have these foldable phones and these computers in our hands, right? And go from there. So I cannot, even that I'm in the business, I tell you, I don't know what our kids, when they're older, when they're adults, what they will be doing.
I think about that all the time, dude. Like how, when we were growing up, like my dad had the cabinet stereo kind of thing, like all the different components, the equalizer and everything. Funny because we didn't have furniture, but my dad had the stereo. It was a very strange situation. I think the stereo existed before the kids, and then he was providing for a family of 6.
Definitely.
Anyway. But like, and that's all, like, that was the dream, to have all the components stacked on top of each other, and you go like, that's a sound bar now. That's it's all kind of like baked into it. We do it all wirelessly. So I think about my kids looking at me on my phone, and they'll have memories of me looking at my phone and going like, 20, 50,
this guy used to have this block in his hand.
And exactly. Like what will make that look ridiculous? Because everything eventually does look very ridiculous. Even just like, if you like think about, like, I've got some TVs that I bought in like 2010 or something. They look terrible. Like the bezels on them, and they're heavy, like they're just, but I was stoked to buy them. Like, they were the best TVs I could buy at that time.
Yes, man. And you spend $4,000. It's like, you can buy something for nothing, right? It's like,
my first TV was about that. I think $3,700.
My first TV was like, my first flat TV was super expensive. I spent one of my bonuses on it. Like, oh, here we go.
The whole annual bonus on the TV.
Again, the whole priority thing, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, now you get to do everything, though. Like, I feel like there's something I really want to almost like take away from that. Like, Donnie and I and all of us doing all this stuff, this is it. We don't get to, I don't know anything about any of the stuff that you're kind of into.
And one of the things I think that our generation at least have, like with the whole hunting thing, we can appreciate this, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we are, I know, not me because I'm not in the business of reviewing like you guys, but I know that sometimes you guys come out like criticizing everything and all that, but I know at the end of the day, you guys appreciate, right? That, hey, there's a Switch with an OLED screen. It's okay. It's like, come on, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. That is something, and there's probably a space for that too. Of just like, it's cool. Like, let's just celebrate the thing. It is funny what happens. Yeah, this is kind of a reflective moment for me where I think about like, well, how does that, like, where does that end up coming from? And I think at least for me, I can really only speak for myself, but like, I often think about if I'm providing any criticism to a particular thing, I'm gonna get feedback either from a listener who maybe points out I didn't talk about this or I got this wrong or whatever. So I'm trying to refine in that sense. So you kind of get further if that's your progression. Seems like you kind of get away from the everything's great and I just want to be excited about everything. Like I guess it just comes down to what
there's a balance. Yeah, there's a balance for sure, and of course. Yeah, you guys need to provide both views, right? It's like, hey, is this really worth it? I forgot the price, but
I feel like we need like a 5-minute little clip of you on pretty much every show. Just like, okay, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but like, what's Kal0's take on this? Like, what do you?
Like, come on, guys, come on. Do you remember in 1986?
Just a little shot of perspective.
How crappy this is.
That's actually it's probably good. And it'll probably make us all sound really ridiculous.
Because let me tell you, in my case, I'm 100% portable player, and that's my thing, so for me, anything that improves that experience is a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But of course, if you are someone that are plugging that Switch thing and the TV, then it's like, come on, guys, this is not a thing. But again, different perspective. That's fine.
I need to have like your like response to like all the like I want to like seek that out and go like, okay, Kal, what was your take on this? It'll be like the official like after I don't even know. It's sort of like when who was after like Conan O'Brien after that? I don't even know. Like it's the show after the ridiculousness and
it's
almost like a response.
Soup. You need to kill a chicken. Remember that?
Totally, exactly. And I don't remember the guy's name, but he went on to do some terrible things. But he did like Talking Bad and Talking Dead, I think.
Okay.
The Nerdist guy, and I love that. That's what I want. I want Kal0 I want you to have like a solo show that just like shows up after the Xbox Drive or the Xbox Empire or something like that.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just like directly respond, no dancing around it. Just like, okay, Sean said this, but you got to keep in mind, blah, blah, blah. I would love that.
Man, for example, for me, the Forza Horizons,
the
zone out that I get with those games, they just zoning out. And I'm not someone that connects a lot and play with other people. I'm more like in that solo experience. I just want to ride, and people might be, but what are you doing? I'm just riding the freaking car.
Yeah.
Until whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, till time's out and you got to go back to adulting or something. What cars are you driving in that? Because I love, I never really thought of myself as somebody who plays games for escapism, but there is something about, maybe it's the fantasy of driving the cars that I'll never have. There's definitely I sometimes I could go towards like a very fantastical type of car, or sometimes just like one that I missed out on, growing up. Like I would have liked to have.
Sometimes, if of course, in this latest, not the latest one, but if it's snowing or something, I go with a pickup or something like that. But if some sport cars or some Toyota Supra or something, I don't know.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes,
some awesome car or something. I have to check, but. One thing I should say, of course, now with my kids, they really enjoy the whole driving cars, and I think it comes with that age as well.
Sure, yeah.
So usually also it translates on, hey, what you want to see? Oh, I want to see that SpongeBob car with the whatever. Okay, let's put a silly theme of SpongeBob on top.
I love it.
And let's write it, right? So
what do you get to do with your kids? I feel like I get the sense that you're very much like you're with them, like you hang out, you guys do stuff together. Like what do you?
Yeah.
You show them stuff.
In term of we go camping, of course, and we do. In term of gaming, my son is he's so into Minecraft.
Oh yeah.
And he connects his world, and then he allows me to get connected there and his friends, and we're just building bases and underground whatever, right? We were actually making the other day like a dome filled with water and all that. He's really into it. I'm just building stuff at random.
But does it scratch that like kind of engineer's itch a little bit? Like,
yeah.
That all connects.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that side of creative, right, on his side, right, of he's really into drawing and all that, and all that. And then my daughter is a little bit younger, so she's still in the let's go and play the Forzas. She's really into the Forzas, so
yeah.
So that's what I do. Yeah, with them. Of course, gaming wise, those are the ones that I focus. Other than that, of course, we do basketball here and stuff like that with them.
When it's not 120 degrees out.
When it's not, right now it's horrible to do that. So
is it?
I tend to stay inside.
Yeah.
It's like 104, so that's too much. Again, I grew up in a farm. I can handle this weather.
Yeah.
But dude, I've been 20 years in indoor AC. Right now, I cannot do it.
Doesn't take long, honestly.
Doesn't take that long, right? It's like,
I don't think it takes long at all. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I love that. What do you like there's nothing quite like just watching your kids kind of like just discover new things that they like and enjoy.
I totally agree. And I think it kind of bring me back to some of my, if I look back, some of my memories in terms of
definitely.
Gaming, it was my dad and me playing Metroid, right? And that's...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's why I love Metroid, It's because I was there with my dad drawing the freaking map.
Yes. I love it. There it is. Okay.
In the floor, right?
So when I asked how'd you get into tech and engineering, that's the answer. You're blueprinting out.
I'm doing the full blueprint there, the architecture of the whole thing. I'm being pissed off. I'm trying to beat, the bosses and all that, and all that, and then finding out that this is a lady.
It's a lady.
It was a huge oh my god, what is this?
Did you find that out on your own? Because that was spoiled for me on the playground kind of thing, and it sounded like alive.
I find out the helmet portion, right?
Yeah.
And I was super excited. I told my twin sister that she's never been into gaming, and she was like, "Wow, that's a girl! What the hell?" It's like
mind blowing.
This is awesome. And then in the playground, someone said, "Oh, if you beat it at a certain time, she will take out all the clothes." What? Let's go.
Right.
Whole suit, right?
Zero suit.
What? Are you kidding me? So that one was spoiled in the playground. So.
Sure, yeah. But again, it sounds like total BS. I remember there's a lot of lies about like certain things in Nintendo like kind of allowed for the lies and BS to kind of get a little out of hand, because it's like you could jump up on Mario, you could get up at the top and just run where the numbers are and sort of like skip levels and stuff. So it's like, well, if that's possible, then maybe you can jump over the flagpole, or maybe you can like take control in between the levels and things. Like these are things that I remember very clearly as like there's a special way to do it. And
I remember this horrible,
kids are full of shit, man.
one horrible game that is not that horrible, I imagine, but I have some bad memories on it. Was Castlevania 2.
Oh yeah,
because there was a section that you needed to kneel for a tornado to pick you up. I learned that after the fact, that when I threw out that cartridge, I was like, "This is BS. I don't know where to go now."
Yeah, there's a lot of that. That's my one hiccup with the original like Legend of Zelda. You bomb that one spot.
It's like no one. What?
I'm sorry. That is unforgivable. That is.
But and I should say, like I tell some of the guys that, and even my kids, it's like, hey. I will get that Castlevania 2, and that was my game for 8 months until my birthday or Christmas, right? That's it. That's the game I need to play for the rest of the freaking year.
Yeah.
I need to be very careful. I needed to be very careful with that on picking my games. So,
there is something about that. There's something, I don't know if maybe it is just nostalgia for any of us who definitely experienced that. You got the one game for your birthday or for whatever. And, it's just funny because I was looking at it today. I was just kind of scrolling through Twitter on my way home and saw like, there's somebody who's tweeting out all the deals that are going on, whatever it was, Game GOG or something like that. And I was like, I remember somehow, maybe it was the Vita days where I saw for the first time, like a good game was like $4. And I remember being like, that's not right. Like shocked by this should be more than $4. Like, how is that possible? That can't be, because, we grew up in the time where they were very, very expensive.
Yes.
And now they're almost like disposable, that they're so cheap. You can just load up on them all.
And now I love it. So I'm not saying anything bad about it, but my son is so used to the Game Pass. Ultimate.
Oh yeah. Just one game, go to the next
one.
one.
Let me try Neighbors. And now let me try this. And let me try. Beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing.
It's not surprising. Like, really, it is so in line just with like what we do with everything else. We're flipping from one thing to the next. Like, we don't even watch, it all started, I'm sure it just started with like, what did you call it? TiVo? Like recording TV and skipping commercials and stuff like that? Yeah. So we kind of had TiVo for like a hot second, but yeah. Different thing.
I need to actually, I have way too many subscriptions, man. I need to start backing out. Okay. Do I really need the Paramount Plus thing or whatever?
Oh, you have all that? Yeah.
All that stuff. So
we have Disney and Netflix, and that's probably good.
That's probably what I will stay with as well.
Yeah. Because it can get out of hand pretty quickly. For
sure. And $10 here and $15 there. It's like, it gets out of hand for sure.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, this is the first time. It's not going to be. I've been doing the show for how many years? The fact that you haven't been on at this point. Thankfully, who was it? Flux or was it Skinny Matt or was it
Skinny Matt? Yeah,
somebody made a push.
Hey, Kal0, what you like? I don't know what you want to hear, Skinny, but sure. Well, it's something.
Well, for the first time, I almost didn't want to like ruin it because I don't know if anybody really knows that this is happening, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think about this every once in a while. But especially for you, I almost did like I'll take your questions now for the Kal0 episode. Okay, maybe we'll do that another time. But I always like to just kind of have our whatever chat. But I thought about that because I feel like you're a very prominent and well admired and loved person in the community.
Thank you.
I think that people would have some really interesting questions for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
That might be a thing. That might be an extra little Patreon thing that we do. Just
for
like
sure.
AMA.
Not an issue.
I like it, man. Well, do you want people to find you on the internet? Do you want to tell people where you are
on the Twitter
is
fine. On Twitter is fine, or Discord.
Where's that? What's your Twitter?
Kal0, Kal0.
Nailed it.
My Twitter.
I ask you like I don't know it already, but yeah, it'll be in the show notes. People should click it.
Let me find it here, but Kal0, that should be. And of course, always on Discord. I'm all over all the Discords and all that.
Yeah.
With the same nickname, Kal0. By the way, just Kal0. It's not. Sometimes I remember the good guy, Mr. Nintendo Guru, right?
Oh yeah.
Kal0. I'm like, no.
Oh, I know.
Hello, dude.
That's just him showing his age a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little out of touch.
Just
well, dude, this is the first of many. Gotta have you back on. I cannot believe an hour just completely flew by.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Can you believe it?
My love for RPGs, my love for, no worries. Next time.
Okay. We'll see you next month. I think this could be a thing.
For
honestly.
Sure. No
yeah. All right, man.
Have a good night, man.
This is why it's so awesome to sit down, carve out some time to have a real honest-to-goodness conversation with somebody who, even if you've known them for a long time, which Kal and I have, but we've never sat down like this. I didn't know most of that stuff about him, dude. Holy crap. Like, isn't it amazing? Just the intelligence that just... I continue to be totally blown away by the guests on this show coming to me, like their journeys and what they do for a living. It's just, and also like video games is kind of what brought us together. Every once in a while I like to think about like what is even like this show about? That really is it. That's the essence of it. That's kind of what it all boiled down to. And also, Kal0 doesn't have a podcast. Like this was speaking of the original kind of intent of the show. Like that was really it. The original idea that I had was to allow people who don't have a podcast to kind of like try it out. And what I discovered is that everybody and their dog has a podcast. But if you don't have a podcast and you want to be on the show, you can tweet at me at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. If you just like games, I've just discovered through this whole thing that basically if you like games, you like talking about stuff. And probably people haven't really asked you about things in your life and how things are going. That's me projecting. That last part is me projecting a little bit, you know? Like, we're just so obsessive about this stuff, and we have lots of things to say, but like most of the time people are off talking about God knows what. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice just to sit in this space and have a chat about maybe a little bit about games, but just how are things going? So yeah, you guys, don't be shy. At Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Follow Kal0, Kal0 with a K, by the way. All the links and everything are in the show notes as well. And if you like this, even just a little bit, you can go to patreon.com/UBCapri. You get the show early. You get pretty much a show almost every single day. There's 6 shows, 6 days of the week. If you're at the $3 and up, you get the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast, which is an exclusive bonus podcast for supporting Yumi Capri. And you can ask me whatever you want. People have been asking me some crazy stuff over there, so you guys can. And it's every single week. We do that every week, on top of everything else. The Xbox Drive, Nintendo Drive, the PlayStation Drive, this show, Sweet Hangs, the RPG Cave. Am I missing something? That might be it. I really like doing the show, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next week with, I'm not even going to jinx it. Maybe Steve will be back next week. We'll just say that, because if Steve doesn't come, if the Steve I'm thinking is coming, if he doesn't come, I'll get another Steve. How about that? We end the show with this weird thing with Jason, and that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Okay, bye-bye.
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!